We are good. We're good. All right. Good afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. It is Friday, August 16th, 2024. SPY closes up about a 0.25% higher, as the Qs, IWM up about 35 bips, and volatility just a tad softer. We'll take a look at all things important today, really. As I share my screen, this is the report. This is really what moved today. It was all about gold and the metals today. Here we go. So gold rallies 2% to new all-time highs. China rallied 2%, and that gas fell about 3.5%. Interesting reversal from the other day. I literally flipped this from Wednesday, where gold wasn't really doing much, and China was down hard, and that gas was up. So just a little bit of an interesting reversal. This week, summarizing, a large 18% drop in volatility as predicted. I think a little bit more on the way. We'll take a look at the charts, and big 9% gains, big strength in both the semiconductors and gold miner juniors and the big gold miners as well, of course, off the back of all-time highs in gold. Noted here, gold was up 2.2%. Gold miners, the bigs were up 3%. FXI up 2%. Chinese internet up 2%. Had some positive, Baba news and stuff. I know 13F filings were out and such too. So Ackman and folks revealing positions. And also silver ran 2%. We were calling for a little bit of a metals rally, and exactly it's what happened today. We'll see what's going forward. And that gas reversed. Remember, I said I wanted to keep it running, so you get a very pretty tag of the 200-day, but trading is not that easy. So we got a bit of a reversal, about 3.5% lower to its 21-day exponential moving average. I did have an order in on this to buy put spreads, but I did not do it. It didn't get struck. It didn't get executed. And the best three absolute trades of the past 5 days: short volatility, long SMH, long the gold miner juniors. You would have masterful alpha and great gains there. And then we'll highlight the 3 best trades of the past 52 weeks. Still no change. You got to be long Bitcoin, long semis, and short vol. All right. So first, let us go to the videotape. No, let's go to the charts. 1 second. Boopity boopity pop. Hello. Here we go. Dashboard. All right. So this was the intraday chart of the SPYs. We hit a low at 8:30 a.m. We peaked around 12:30. Typical kind of thing here with the European close marking the top. For us, we've seen this a couple times this week and a strong extension to the close, but we did hold VWAP. Pretty nice bullishness there, up 20 bips or so. Bigger picture. We called this off the bottom. We said this was a bit too extended here, 510 low, and that's precisely where we got to. And we've been calling for 540 in the SPY. That's where I expected to get to, but if it got really bullish, because as a trampoline, you go really down, extended to the downside, you can expect a master rip up here. Do we get above this bar as we did here? Hard to tell. So my 540 was the target, and I said if things got really mega bullish, and a little bit stretched, we were going to get to about 552. We closed right around 554 today. You can see the candle here. I don't think we're totally done to the upside. My date for the end of accumulation period, it started on August 5th, and I have it ending right around August 20th, which is Tuesday. That's actually kind of not a bad setup because the end of next week is Jackson Hole. And I don't know how the market's going to digest it or the trading after, but I think we will start to go lower there. We might go higher. It's pretty interesting. I'm doing a lot of charting today about specifically in terms of the stochastic momentum mix and where the Qs are. The Qs look like they're getting a little bit tired. I actually, instead of rolling IWM put spreads today, I actually rolled into a Qs put spread. It fits my portfolio as well because I'm long NVIDIA and Bitcoin and stuff, and it's high correlation to an extent, but I went short on the Qs now. I haven't been short in a long time, but again, this is just a small hedge because I just see it getting a little bit tired. So that is it for SPY. Like I said, so around here, this is a little bit extended. Could we go a little bit higher towards that 5? The top end is 562. That would be within $3 or less than 1% of new all-time highs. Currently, as we sit, we are literally about 2%. It's like 1.7% away from new all-time highs. So tough to be bearish, but this is where I think it's going to frustrate traders. I don't think we're going to get that new all-time high next week. I think we're going to settle right around here. Maybe have a little oscillation between 550, 552. And then I think in about 3 weeks or so, we're going to be cascading, small, very small garden variety sell-off down back to that 540 mark. It just looks like an important level. I think this is just a bit much. 511 to 555. It's 45 points, like 8% in 11 days. So trees don't grow to the sky. And that's my call for SPY. I wouldn't be chasing longs here very, very tactically. I mean, I think it would have to be in areas like small cap. I see some opportunity and some areas like that. Alrighty, so that is my call on the broader markets. Let us now get into stuff that moved and why it matters. So gold is all the talk of the town today. All-time highs, not just 52-week. We'll look at the GLD. Basically closed at 232. Pretty nice monster rip here. It got above its upper band here. A nice rising 200-day moving average. You could argue, I mean, it's a big range, but you could argue we've been essentially range bound since April. And now, after it took out 230 just today, it's finally broken out. Now, what? Kind of frustrating to people, I think, as well. Obviously had momentum. Nice looking candle. A big one there. Opened at the lows. Closed at the highs. Nice signal of strength. But this is a little bit extended. I think this is, it's all-time high, so obviously the easy thing is to say there's no resistance, right? All green and upside ahead. But this has been, in the works for quite a while. I've seen it trying here at the end of July. It ping-ponged. It went from 218 to 228, and then right back down to 219, and now finally we did it. All that being said, we might have another day or two of strength, but I do see this getting back to about 225. So a reduction of, about 7 points or so, maybe 2-3% to the downside. So, but congratulations if you're long gold. Gold miners, we called this on Wednesday. I said buy gold miner juniors. They also ripped. Similar. I'm not going to pull it up. It's up just about as much as this, maybe even more. What the heck? I'll just look it up. So the gold miners today was up 3.2. Yeah, the GDXJ was up 3.1. It just looked like it was going to spike. But now what? Let's look at this trade specifically, see if there's any meat on the bone. Nice looking bar. It is literally at the top of the band. Its 52-week high is 39.40, so it doesn't always track with gold, the commodity itself. Obviously, these are gold miner companies that have expenses and costs and different liabilities, so they don't trade exactly one for one with the underlying gold asset. So all that being said, I mean, 39.40. If you get some vol expansion, you see this little starting to go up a little bit. The blue waves, the Bollinger Band or volatility band starting to expand. You might get a little bit to 39.40. Would that be an all-time high? It would actually match it. So yeah, I could see it. I mean, it's gravitating towards there. I think maybe this puts it into a new 52-week high or very close to it. But I wouldn't straight up chase this here. Again, this started over here. Congrats if you bought it during the Japan scare. This went from 34 to 38 in about 11 days. All right. So again, I like to form a thesis when all these things come together. So gold, nice run. I think it's going to start to go a little bit lower. Just said the same thing for SPY and the broader market. Had a great run these past 11 days. Get ready for consolidation. You can't just eat a huge meal and then just continue going. I mean, although that is America with McDonald's or something, but the idea is you have to have a digestion period for stuff like this. All right. FXI, let's take a look. I said FXI was a frustrating one. It was just going to go kind of oscillating sideways. Let's see if I was right or wrong. I know it popped 2% today. So I said before, this could, I didn't want to see it, not want to see it, but I thought this wasn't going to go much further past 25.60 with a ceiling of 26.50. Okay. That was pretty much where we got to today. The high was literally 26.41. Now what? As you can see, the important 200-day moving average, and this is actually moving lower. So not a great vote of confidence after it peaked in May for the 52-week high. Now what? This is just top of the band. This isn't like a super strong area, China, right? So I see this trading to 25.60 over the next 2 weeks or so. So not an amazing call, but it's still holding the 200-day moving average. 25.60 is basically a move to there. So not a ton. You can always, of course, make money. I said this wasn't going to do a ton. still in accumulation phase as of Wednesday, and then boom, you get a pop like this, 2% today. I wouldn't chase it here. A weak asset, literally at the top of the band. You see what happened here? Went above, started a new downtrend. Here, starting to get a little bit strong. And look at this in the stochastic momentum mix. This is typically where it gets tired. So minus 12. I'm not going to get into the math of this, but this is a great oscillator. It just combines a lot of different factors I use a lot. So here I think it's going to get tired right around here. This is the same period in July where it got tired. This was different. I'm going to treat this as a little bit of an aberration in May because there's a 52-week highs, and I'm just seeing lower highs here. All right. Here is a little bit more deeper slither of the of FXI. It's K-Web, so strictly Chinese internet. Basically had the same call on this. Yeah, this guy, it's interesting. It got right to its longer-term moving average. So look at this, the 200-day moving average, which is also descending. This peaked the same day, obviously, as FXI, May 17th. And look at this. Always interesting. I love seeing when stuff dances with the 200-day moving average. So this thing's tried, and the 200-day moving average is flat at 26.99. It's where it closed. Now what? You actually might be a little bit surprised by this. I did buy Q puts today. I don't want to also, which is obviously American tech. I don't want to also go short Chinese tech. I'd rather do like a pairs trade. But this looks weak to me. I think this was a lot that it could muster from 24.80 all the way to 26.95. And I am going to look at putting money where my mouth is. And I like this to the downside. I think this minimum gets to 26.5 over the next 2 weeks. And I think very realistically, especially if you get some fear in the market, 25, 26.5, 25.75. So right around here towards the lower band. I'll have to check the risk reward in terms of the options on that. But I am going to make a note on that because you got to be in and out of these things. I recommend on Wednesday long, ARC-G and GDXJ, and they both ripped wonderfully. The puts not so much, and that's why it's more important. The top bottom. I also had wanted to put on short EWT Taiwan and short EWZ Brazil. Those didn't work. They're still going up, and this is why the motion of the ocean is so much more important. So I'm going to wait. I don't want to directly short this as up 2.1%. I want to see a little bit of consolidation, maybe see this down 20, 30 bips or something like that on Monday, and then that'll be my signal. Yeah, for a level to the downside, 24.95 for the most bearish. Basically, would take it into those Japanese that scare last Monday, and I have to see from there. So it's $2. You can make decent money on that. It's about like 8% or something. If I have that right. So I'm going to write right here, K-Web put spread, and erase my old calls. Keep it real with you guys. I just talk like it's just you and me. All right, so that is K-Web. Yeah, all right, nice. So trade idea. All right, then silver also rallied today with gold. There was a big metals show today. Well, it's a metal show. All right, so now what? This just got also to its longer term, one of its longer term moving averages I have here. This might have another day or so of buying, but not much past. I have a ceiling here of 27.40. So it is not going to get to its 52-week high. Gold is really at the forefront of it right now, and obviously a bit of it is because of I think I saw Harris's economic plan and the fears of inflation and the country printing more debt and so on and so forth. So people cling to something like, of course, gold that always has supposed value. Silver is a little bit different. It's more economical, industrial. It's being used in terms of growth. Kind of similar. In terms of copper, but a nice rise of 200-day moving average. Seems like a matter of time before it takes out its May 52-week high. I think this is it for this go around. Maybe you get a little bit more to 27.40, which would be right here where my cursor is. That's about 90 cents, or like 4%. So there is potential for more upside, but I don't. Maybe a little bit more upside. I'm not going to chase, but I do think there's a little bit more up, and then probably lower. All right, let's examine UNG. I was looking at this earlier. As I said, I put in an order. I would love, just for, it's like a crash dummy. I haven't heard that phrase in a while. Crash dummy, just easy. If it got to 1823, denoted here, but a falling 200-day moving average, that black line, I would love to just sell all I could, and when I was done, sell some more. But it's not that easy. What happened was you did get to the top of the band here, and now you had a big down day, down 3.5%. Now what? I'm going to look at this. I'd rather would have liked to get in. So my order today was around 14.35. and that did not happen because it was there in the morning, and then it went straight down. If this spikes for some reason on Monday, I would look to be advantageous, and I would want to get in the sell side there. This looks like it's on its way lower beginning today. So I will look. I would potentially look at September put spreads. I would have to check if I got in at my target price around 14.30. Again, this is a small contract, so I'd have to look exactly at the strikes, and I usually do it according to deltas. And then I could also do like a put ratio. We'll see if I want to subsidize it that much, if I think 52-week lows are on the horizon. But all that being said, do I? So for the next 3 weeks, I think this looks like it has a date with 1240, which would be, that's ballsy, which would be a new 52-week low. I just don't, this looks like crap. I mean, if you're just being, joyful because of the rally it's had off of, 1240 to 14, we've had a rally in kind of everything. I couldn't even find many losers. You'll see in a few minutes when we got to the losers of the week. So this is one of them. It's vol, this, and Bitcoin. So, and Bitcoin's the best performer of the past year. So this is in its own. So I will look to do this again as well on Monday. So as I said, the thesis unbiased, just looking at the charts, stuff's getting extended. Don't want to be chasing the market here. Don't really want to chase gold and silver, although it might have a small bit of upside. Don't really want to trade China, considering I'm very likely going to put on put spreads and Chinese internet and that gas. Just tells me there's a little bit of downside. I wouldn't be, chasing to the sky here. All right, and that was the only thing that was down today, by the way, on a multiple sigma level. So the ups today was gold miners, China, Chinese internet, and silver. They were up multiple standard deviations, more than one. And then down, the only thing down hard today was nat gas. So, dog's going to dog. All right, top 5 gainers the past 5 days, new repeats. So this is interesting. This is important. So this is what gives me some fears about the NASDAQ getting a little bit tired. The best of the best. SMH, the second best long of the entire past 52 weeks. We just put in a lot of energy here, okay? So obviously you have your great look at support, the 200-day moving average, 211. This should have happened, but it does. The market's always right. So we've had this monster rally from 200 all the way to 246. All right, so it's $46. That's a monster rally. Okay, so 10% in the past 5 days alone, on an average of 2% a day. Looks like it's getting a little bit tired here, up 0.14 only. Now what? So I'm looking at the charts here. I think this might want to make a move to 252, and that'll be an absolute best. You saw NVIDIA and some other semis were doing well today. AMD's had a bit of a change of luck as well. I think Broadcom and Micron, and Cisco with their news last night, earnings and 3%, I believe, layoffs, 7%. Getting confused with MasterCard. They're laying off 3% globally of their workforce. And Cisco's laying off as well. So all that being said, yeah, this might have another thrust to 252, which is $5. That would be, like 2%. And then I would think that would cap that. And then we start to get a little bit of a descent right around 237. All right, which would be from here alone a $10 or 4% or so decline. All right, very important chart. I just don't like that. So basically what I mean is still a nice ride to 100. It's getting a little bit mature. It's not having the slope that I'd like to see here, right? So I'm going to get a little bit tired, but still rising. It did a lot of work here. I think we're going to rest here. And then the new highs, again, the new highs here are 283. I don't think you're going to get those till mid to late September. Probably when the actual, I was telling my friend this last night, probably when the Fed cuts are coming, that's September 18th, those 25 bips. And then I think the market's going to cheer that. It could always be a knee-jerk reaction. You get the cuts and the market's freaked out because, the Fed acknowledged we're in recession, they need help, and the soft landing's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But I'm the way I'm doing my 15 to 18-day cycles and everything else, it looks like we are topping in the markets around August 20th. And then that would mean new highs right around September 20th. All right. It's not always that cute, but that's the idea. I will pull up GDXJ. We looked at GDX, but GDXJ is the second biggest gainer of the week, up 9%. So second best after the semiconductors. I said this on Wednesday, highlighted. I said this is going to be a jump soon, and I was slow on it. I did not get to do it, and it jumped exactly so. From a low, it closed on Wednesday when I said that. It closed at 44.70, and today we're at 46.55. So it's a nice gain, 3% just today alone. Now what? might have a little bit more. I have 48, so not quite the new 52-week high. You might get to here. I am seeing some vol expansion there, greater inputs. So maybe there to 48. That would be another 3-ish%. People probably late to the gold party, want to play in a different way, potentially. Fine. But then over the next 3 weeks, this is getting back down to 44. So that, if it does get to 47, then that gets a little bit overcrowded on that side. I would look for the short side. I'm not going to do it today or on Monday, but I want to see how this trades because I do think there's going to be downside for this in the next 3 weeks. So that's a good one. Tech, of course, very important. Tech is the third biggest gainer this week, up 7.5%. Tech looking a little bit tired. So obviously this is reflective a bit of the SMH. This went far lower on the August 5th Japan crash. Just went far lower below the 200-day. This has, semis is the alpha of where the, a lot of price return has been in the market. SK is a little bit broader. Apple, now that Apple's, not doing well, it was a laggard. That'll give other firms that are up as much as an NVIDIA. So all that being said, this exerted a lot of work. I see monster resistance right around this 225 level. So it could squeak out another, maybe 2%. It looks like it's getting tired here. Again, a monster run from 192 to 221. You can't just run on the treadmill for 3 weeks. You gotta take it easy. So I see this taking a breather, and I see this probably resting to about 212 or so. So 212, that would be $9. What is that, like 4% or something like that? So that might feel like it hurts because typically 4% down in the XLK over 3 weeks is just about like close to like 3% pain in the Qs, and people are going to start doubting the bounce, the V-shaped recovery that we've had from the Japan crash. All right, that's my call. Still staying long. A little bit concerned about the velocity that it has, but I'm obviously not sure. I'm long this stuff. ARCG was talking about this too. Literally have it on my sheet. Said buy calls. Didn't get to it. Didn't love the setup. This one was up 85 bips today. A nice move from Wednesday. Not monster, but it was a 24.5 to 26 here. It's up nicely over the past week and all, though. Up 7%. Now what? I think this is being accumulated. I think you always got to be careful when junk rallies. This thing, obviously junk. Very heavy on the 200 moving average. I would love basically the same language I have for nat gas, and I am going to write this down. And again, the thesis is like buy puts. Everything's getting a little bit stretched, too much, too far, right? RG, I would love, similar to nat gas, if this could rally to 27.35, I would love to short it. The only thing that concerns me here is the 200-day is starting. This black line, it is flat, but it is starting to curl up a little bit. I don't love that. I still think this is going to prove ultimately very heavy, as the 200-day moving average has been for this since March. But I think that will actually coincide very nicely with the end of this rally in terms of the Bollinger Bands as well. If you get a crazy thrust, so the 200-day moving average is 27.34. If people get nuts on this, it could possibly get to 28.54. I don't think that's going to happen. That would be here, and that would easily be my signal to. It's actually tough because that would be a momentum. That would be a breakout. That would be like a 4-month breakout. So I'd have to reassess the situation there. I think it's going to run into a roadblock here at 27.34, and that would be an easier thing for me. But I will look for this at the end of 2 weeks. It's not. I'm not going to know to Monday or Tuesday. I need to see how it is because this is being accumulated from here. I don't think it's done yet. I think it's going to gravitate towards that 200 line, as you usually see. And Japan, we called for this. Japan up 6% in the past week. Okay, obviously they were all the news last Monday, and we said first stop the 200-day moving average, which is basically 67 even. It did that. Don't forget this thing bottomed at 61 the day of the crash. A move to 67 is 10% for a nation. Japan's back. The 52-week high is 72. We're trading 69. Okay. All that being said, I think you got an overbought sell here. I think this is a bit exhausted. I'm trying to see what else I can make. 71.5, 67.5. Yeah, 69.5 I have for a ceiling here. And it's basically where it's at. So 10 cents. So where do we go? About 6. It's going to hold the 200-day moving average. I think this is going to sell off a little bit down to 67.40. So that would be about $2. That could probably scare some people. So yeah, 2 into 630, that's a 3% downfall. So again, if I'm calling for around 3% in Qs over the next 3 weeks, 3% in Japan, you're going to see, a little bit of a reversal of the euphoria or so that we've had in this V-shaped recovery in the markets. But Japan doing what it's supposed to do. All right, top 3 losers of the past 5 days. I used to have this list be the top 5 losers of the past 5 days. I can't even find 5 losers, okay? That's how difficult it is, and we're less than 1.8% away from new all-time highs, so you got to be bullish. Don't be fearful. I called for the accumulation phase for these for the time after Japan. I'm telling you right now, mid next week, I think get ready for a little bit of digestion, somewhere around 3% or so down the markets through mid-September. Probably earlier than that. Probably like by Labor Day, I think the sell-off is done. Okay, let's look at VXX, a very important chart. A lot of people talking about the crash and volatility. Yep, going lower. I said I need to see this down. I called this on Wednesday. I said I need to see this down less than 4%, like down something like 20 bips, 50 bips, and lets me know that it's almost done. That's exactly what we got today. It was down 22 bips today. So I think this is nearing its bottom. The crazy thing is here is, so the 21-day exponential moving average on this is 46.66. So it's not holding that here. The 200-day moving average is higher. I'm just going to call it round handle 57. That looks like it's up in the sky, but we are in an elevated, in a way, volatility environment. The low post-split is 40 even on VXX, so we're 10% away from that. I think this is going to stabilize here, like truly right around. I know I called for I called for 40 handle, probably 40 even. I called for, so I might have been too bullish on the market and too bearish on VXX. But this looks like it's going to rest. It's such a piece of crap. I really want to call for 36, which would be a new 52-week low. But again, I see the accumulation phase for the markets and for SPY ending somewhere around midweek. So I don't think this, and I don't think this is going to quite flush. All right, that was the biggest loser this week, down 18% this week. Okay. That's pretty astonishing. That's crazy, Tim. That's like almost 4% a day. Okay, and then Nat Gas was the second biggest loser, way down the chain. Nat Gas down 2% this week, and we pulled up the chart, so I'm not going to do that. And then the third biggest loser, hard to find, Bitto, basically down the same as Nat Gas, 1.7%. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Oh man, so Bitcoin also had a nice rally from its lows. I happened to buy there during the Japan crash. Thank you. But yeah, so it hit 1615, 1945. Now what? I have more to go on the upside. I know Bitcoin's trading 59K or so right now. I think this is going higher over the next 2 weeks. So nice little counter trade, because I don't want to buy just puts on KWeb, NatGas, and the ARC Genomic fund, right, which I have on my sheet here. I'm really long Bitcoin. A nice pop today, about 4.8%, and it's still down 1.7% on the week. So see, it had such strength here coming into last week. Yeah, it closed last Friday at 1980. So, small to down, but can't say that for a lot of other securities. Yeah, I think this will be accumulated. I have 2040 for kind of like a minimum. You really want to see it recoup and get back to this 200-day moving average. Super important. I think, unfortunately, that's where the buck is going to stop. That's quite a move. 2380. That's monster, from 19 to 24 bucks. That's a huge move. I don't know if we're going to get a 20% move in crypto. So I will stick with the more realistic and very likely target of 2040. And I see that getting to there over the next 2 weeks. And if really mega bullishness comes out, 22. But yeah, it's a little bit scary that it's not having the 200-day moving average. This looks like it's starting to get a little bit heavy for it. All right. So best 3 absolute trades in the past 5 days: short VXX, long SMH, long gold miners, and then to see that the picture in the grand scheme of things is not changed. The best 3 absolute trades of the past 52 weeks. And we looked at these charts. Long GBTC up 145% in the past month, in the past year. Long semis up 68% over the past year. Okay. And then short volatility down 54% in the past year and down 18% in the past week. So that is your weekly report. Also, I will be the chart advisor writer of the week next week. So I'll post some stuff here on my socials of the articles of the day. I'm going to be talking about, writing about a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today and updating you on important market moving securities next week. Everyone have an awesome weekend and talk to you Monday.